going on, everybody? Live Farm 73 here. Guava. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see you. Hey, my Renaissance grandma, how you doing? I can see that this video is gonna be weird because they already got. Yeah, it's gonna be weird because it's a bunch of people in here, and it's not even showing up. I can see it on this, but I can't see it on this. Usually, that's a bad sign. Let me see who's. I can't even see who's in the chat. Now I can't. Now it's starting to go. That always lets you know it's not gonna go well. Miko Purdue, how you doing? Sean does it all. My Renaissance grandma, Nikki Walker, C. Francis, Big Truck, Second Floor Gardens, Rush. Yeah, just Rush. Big Trucks. I'm not gonna do that. Sacred Homemaker, how you doing? Talia, Evan, how you doing? Let's see. It's my Renaissance grandma, Yvette Bailey. I'm gonna do this for another hot minute because I don't want to be in here too long and talking y'all ear off. Larry Lane, how you doing, Larry Lane? It's good to see you. Let's see who else we got. Stefan, how you doing? Lexi in her garden, how you doing? Let me see who else we got. Black Gumbo, how you doing? All right, come on, bring it on. All right, y'all, let's get it. All right, you see what's going on. Tiffany, how you doing, Tiffany? Had a long talk with my son today. I'm gonna just go ahead and get it going, all right? Let me see. Hey, Sharon. Big Rob, how you doing? Listen, had a long talk with my son this morning, and it was a wonderful, wonderful talk. I hope y'all can hear me too. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you for that. And I'm gonna just come out and say it. Growing with Hudson, how you doing, my sister? Hey, retirement is a lie. I'm gonna start the video out with that in the first 3 minutes. Retirement, 30-year retirement is a lie. I'm gonna try not to fly off the handle too much, but I mean what I say, and I know I got some people in here that's either about to retire or have retired, and I just want to get some points across. Before I get all into the spiel, I'm going to go ahead and ask you, okay, on most jobs, they want to employ you for 30 years, right? On most jobs, they say you can retire in 30 years of employment with this company. They tell you in 30 years you can draw your pension or draw your retirement from that company. Am I right? It's an A and B conversation. Most jobs tell you if you work for them for 30 years, you will be able to draw retirement benefits from that company. Am I right? Yvette says retired with 36 years from the Postal Service. Okay. All right. Rush says you're right. How you doing, Ivory? Okay. If you can retire in 30 years, I'm going to try not to get into the conspiracy theory factual-ish. Okay, I'm going to try my hardest to stay away from that. But they tell you can retire in 30 years and you can draw your full retirement benefits from that company. But then you have to wait to a certain age to draw your pension and your Social Security, right? Right. No, age is to draw your Social Security and your pension and stuff. To draw your retirement is just you putting in that 30 years at that job. Now, even if you start out early, say you start young and you start out in your teens and 20s and you're able to retire from that job in 30 years, you're only, hey, come here. Cut this light on for me, baby, please. You're able to retire from that job by the age of 50. Say you start at 20, you go the whole time, and you're able to retire at the age of 50 years old. That means you started early. So you're going to only be able to withdraw your retirement. You won't be able to draw your Social Security, right? Unless you cash out early, which nobody likes to do that because they penalize you, right? Am I right or wrong? You have 30 years to work for this company. You probably have another 40 to 50 years before you can draw your Social Security. You started out at 20 years old. By the time you're getting a full ride benefit of your Social Security and your retirement from your job, you are 70-ish years old. My Renaissance grandma said at my job, full retirement was 46 and a half years of service for me to get all my money. Okay, I'm glad you said that, my Renaissance grandma, because I just want to keep things real. I don't want to run off today. I want to keep this in focus with y'all. So that means you'll be 70-something years old by the time you can actually, literally, legally sit on your back porch and drink lemonade and watch the birds fly, right? You're 70-something years old. I know some of y'all like I'm still 70 and sexy. I get it. I get it. But you just gave the prime years of your life to a job. You gave more hours to that corporation than you did to your very own family. I want that to sink in for a minute. I'm gonna let that sink in. How you doing, Ben Robinson? Hey, Mr. Bambit, how you doing? Sorry about the deers, man. Sorry the deers got you. I want you to let that sink in for a minute. You spent more time at your job than you did with your family. I don't care how you cut it. More hours went towards your job, your corporation, your employment than it did with your own children, husband, wife, family situations, family matters. Imagine this. We all had to take, if your child got sick, you had to leave your job to go take care of your kid. It wasn't the other way around. You had to leave your kid to go to your job. It wasn't that way. You literally live at your job and you visit your house. I want you to, I'm trying to talk slow so this can really sink in. Okay? So, think about that. I want you to think about that. So here's the other thing. In 30 years, now remember, it's a give and take, right? So goods and services. You're doing a service for a payment for 30 years. This is the part that they don't tell you. You're thinking that you have to, let me see, LA says you're right, retired from the police department 12 years after 25 years, but still too young to collect Social Security. Gave the best years of my life, broken body. Amen to that. Tiffany says, now that I'm in retirement, I watch my neighbors leave every day for work. They are never home, leave before 5, 8. and just enough time to sleep. Amen to that. Uh, that's right, Ben. You can't get that family time back. Absolutely. Ben says, I learned it's not about retirement age, but when your mind and health tell you it's done. Well, not necessarily. Your bills tell you when you're done. That's why we're here today. Your body and your health don't mean jack, because your bills don't stop coming because you get sick. Your bills don't stop coming because you get hurt. Your bills don't stop coming because you hurt your back. So your health means nothing. Your bills. I now want to put something else into perspective. Mr. Bamba says, so true, all your life spent on your job. Absolutely. I want to put something else into perspective. You can't get hurt. Let me get back on track because I don't want to veer off. Let me put something into perspective for you. The part that they don't tell you, see, they tell you part of the plan, and the part that they say out loud is even bad. You work for 30 years, you can retire around your 50s, but you can't get your Social Security benefits and the rest of your benefits until you're, 63? Now you're 70 something, right? Hey now, Katina Brooks. Now, that's the horrible part that they say out loud. Here's the part that they don't say out loud, but you end up finding it out. And if you're not aware of your surroundings and your situation, you won't find out until it's time for you to retire. Here's the part they don't say, they keep you busy so you don't notice. This is the part they don't say. They say you can retire in 30 years. The part they're not saying is, in that 30-year span of time, you're not saving 30 years worth of money. So we all got it calculated that we're going to be saving 30 years worth of money. So in 30 years, we can retire with the money that we saved. We can retire with the retirement benefits, and we can retire with the Social Security benefits. The part that they didn't tell us is you have to pay to live for 30 years. You have to pay to live to make it that 30 years, meaning you and most people in this country cannot save money. Most people in this country don't have $5,000 in savings in their bank account. Most people in this country ain't got $5,000 in their checking account. All it takes is one crooked bill to wipe you out. All it takes is one bad bill that you wasn't expecting, or you to get sick, or a tire on your car to blow out and to get fixed. All it takes is that to make you overdraft. Katina Brooks says that's where we're having our own land comes in. Absolutely. We get into that right now. But I want to put into perspective about the lie that we're all being told. And I know some of us older folks, we already been through it, and unfortunately, we are at a point where it might be a little too late for us to make such a decision because we're already in the thick of it, right? Us older people are already in the thick of it. So we're all kind of looking like, too late, too sorry. "30 years you've been paying rent, mortgage, car note, college, school, hospital bills, life insurance, car insurance. Everything they have is put in place to literally wipe you out. So you can never get ahead, and you will always be dependent on that corporation. This is, I'm gonna veer off for a second and just give you a little piece of what me and my son talked about this morning. Cell phones. Now, we talked about all of what I'm telling y'all now, but cell phones came up. Every time we turn around, they come up with something. They make up a bill. They invent a bill for you to pay. We already don't have any money, but they invent something that they forcibly make you pay. A cell phone. They have pretty much done away with landline phones. Y'all know that, right? How many people heard that they're going to totally, completely do away with landline phones? How many people heard that? Old school landline, plug it in the wall, landline phone. How many people heard that? That's about to be, this is going to be the end of that. How many people heard that? Yeah, go look it up. They're getting rid of landline phones. They're gonna replace it with something. I can't remember what it is, but basically all it is a plug in your house that goes to your phone, your cell phone device. Go look it up. What they're saying is, somebody said it to me in one of my videos, and I went and looked it up. And what it is they're going to pretty much have whatever service, just like your streaming service, just like your Wi-Fi service, that's going to be a plug in your house. You can still plug your landline phone up to, but it's still going to be being used and charged just like your cell phone. Go check it out. It's sad. And that's what we was talking about today. So think about, right, subscription based, correct. So instead of you paying your little $19, $20 for your landline phone a month or every 90 days, you're going to be paying a cell phone subscription price, just like for your cell phone for your house. If you need that landline phone, that's how that's going to work. Right. That's why they're running all the fiber. Absolutely, Katina Brooks. That's why they're running all the fiber optic cables everywhere, even in the ghetto. They putting fiber optics underneath the doggone projects. Absolutely, they are. Grown was and say our landline is connected with our cable. It's going to be totally different from that too, because that's how ours is. It's going to be a whole different ball of wax. I don't want to veer off, but I wanted to make sure we talked about that. The reason why me and my son talked about that is because that's now a forced expense. It's now a forced expense because they've made it. You can't go apply for no job without no computer, right? You can't walk in a store anymore and say, are you hiring? Can I have an application so I can put an application for? No, they tell you to scan the QR code on the window or go to www.hotpizzas.com and you can apply online for an application to work here at this job. There is no more go in and they hand you this clipboard and say, hey, go fill this out. And when you're done, if you really want the job, because we need somebody, fill this out and then give it back to me and I'll get you in real quick. No more of that. Go to www.hotpizzas.com or scan the QR code right here on the window and that take you right to the application site. Now, the reason why that's being forced is because now you can't do anything without a cell phone. If you don't want a cell phone, there's nothing you can do. If you don't want a computer, there's nothing you can do. Here's the other part. I remember when cell phones really started switching over to that, and a lot of people couldn't get a job because they didn't own a cell phone yet. It wasn't that flourishing yet. And if you did, Imagine this. You can't, if you need a job and you homeless, where's you getting a cell phone from? So those people was caught up in a catch-22. And I don't want to veer off. Sometimes I veer off because I make so many points and I want to get into them. But my point is this. You can't get a job without a phone. You can't get a job without a computer. You can't handle business without a phone. You can't handle business without a computer. That's why they'll take a phone now. I can remember a cell phone cost about 50 bucks. You had to pay a lot in the payments, but you can go to any corner cell phone shop, buy a cell phone, and pay for your minutes, right? No more. Every cell phone that you go buy, number one, you need good credit. You need good credit to buy a cell phone. And then if you're approved, the cell phone costs $1,200. And then if you're approved and the cell phone costs $1,200, then your bill is going to be 50 something, 60 something dollars a month. But if you really handling business and you need extra data, unlimited data and all that, you're going to be paying $100 per line. Meaning, listen, meaning if you need a phone, your kids need a phone, your daughter, your son, your husband, that's 4 lines. Then they got the family plan bundles where all y'all sharing data. Don't matter. You paying that's a rent payment just to use a cell phone. Just so your family can have cell phones, that's an average rent payment. Plus fees. And if you go over and all of that. I want you to think about that. I want that to melt in your brain. I pick one situation that me and my son talked about because I don't think I need to go too much further into that to get my point across. Odom's Homestead. She's Natural Homestead. Okay. Here's my point. Everybody with me on where I am so far, right? Okay. 30 years. And everything you do and everywhere you go costs you money. Thank you, baby.
That's off the road.
Off of what?
You was on the road.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I thought about saying I don't want this. She said this peach is off the road. Look, I'm thinking the street. No, like you gave me some road apples?
Roadside.
Okay, not roadkill. Okay, so here's the deal. 30 years. 30 years you can draw retirement. Now, mind you, if you don't get fired first, if you're able to retire in 30 years, your body is not in control of when you can retire. Your mind is not in control of when you can retire. Your bills are in control of when you're able to retire. I don't care. I was tired, boss. So your bills are in charge of telling you when you can retire. And the thing is about this in this day and age, they make up a new bill every day. That's why I brought up the cell phone situation. Because y'all remember, let me see, my son is 20 years ago, it didn't matter whether you had a cell phone or not. A lot of people didn't have a cell phone. It wasn't no big deal. Now, 20 years later, everybody has one and you better have one. So what they did was compile extra bills on top of you, something that you can't do without, and they changed the entire system to make it so you have no choice but to own this device. Let me get back on track. I'm trying to stay on track. 30 years worth of bills, 30 years worth of mortgage, 30 year think. Even they got you paying for your house for 30 years. And I want to get something clear. And I want to touch on something, because me and my son, man, we was breaking it down today. Why do they want you to pay for your house in 30 years, but pay for your car in 5? There's a lot of houses out there that cost just as much as these cars. And if you, let's just say you purchase a home for $70,000. Cars out here easily cost $70,000, right? Why you only get 5 years to pay this car off, but they start you out at 30 years to pay off this house? I'm gonna tell you why. Because they hoping that you bite the dust, and all that house does is get recycled back into the system, and they'll make money off of that house every generation. Your family will never see a nickel of it if you don't do it right. And most of us don't do it right and set up our paperwork and trust because we're too busy at work. I digress. All I want to do is put some realization on the situation. The realization is you're going to work for 30 years. You're going to pay for a home for 30 years. You're going to become accumulating bills for 30 years. And in 30 years, at the age of 50, you won't have enough money to retire. Once you are old enough and you try to work another 10 years into your late 60s and 70s, now you can bring your Social Security. Here's the problem with that. You've accumulated so many hospital bills because of your poor health, and it ain't necessarily got to be your poor health, but we're aging. You need to see a doctor. And they don't give discounts for senior citizens at the hospital. Now, you can go to Denny's and get a Grand Slam for $3 with your AARP card or your senior discount for your early bird special. You can go get an early bird special about $3 or $4. But when you get sick and you need help, you go to the hospital. Ain't no discounts, ain't no coupons, ain't no senior discount when you go to the hospital. So me and my son was talking today, and he said, "Dad, well, what should I do?" My son is 20 years old. "What should I do? Because I do not want to end up like that." And I said, I have come up with a solution. And you can either hear me and do it or not. If you don't hear me and do it, you're going to go through the same cycle that all of us have been going through for generations. You work your ass off, you literally work yourself to death, and you die with nothing. You can go and follow the footsteps of that. Or you can make a change. He said, "Dad, so if you were my age, what would you do different?" Now, that's a question all of y'all can answer. If you were 20 years old, like my son asked me, what would you do different now that you know the truth that 30-year retirement is a lie? What would you do different? Everybody can answer it. So this is what I told my son. I broke it down like this, and I wrote it down. Here's one of the here's one of the things, the reason why we get screwed up in this journey on the way to retirement. 401k? Yeah, okay. This is where we get screwed up in that journey. Nobody tells us. Our mothers don't tell us. Our fathers don't tell us. Cool uncles don't tell us. Nobody tells us. Your teacher at school, your college professor, nobody tells us this. You literally, at the age of 20, from the year you're old enough to work, I'm gonna say that 15, 16, you have to make two lists. You need to put these two lists on your wall in whatever house you're in. List number one is your wants. Y'all can keep telling me what you would do different when you was 20 years old. List number one, your wants. List number two is your needs. Never get those mixed up. Draw a line down the middle. Here's your wants and here's your needs, and never let them come together and meet. Keep them separated like night and day. No dawn to dusk business. Your wants and your needs. I'm not going to ask you about the list of your wants, because the list of your wants never stops. All your wants and your desires, they never stop. It's human nature. So that list will go on for the rest of your life. But the part that we never focus on is our needs, our basic essentials, our needs. So I have my son do this. What do you need for basic survival? And everybody can answer this. What do you need for basic survival out here? I'm going to tell you what I came up with. You need shelter. Absolutely, RM. You need food. You need heating and cooling. You need power. You don't think you do, but you do. You need electricity. You need a power source. You need water. One that we never remember, you need good health. You need to be healthy. And then we have little extra spending money. I just threw that in, okay? That's not all that. I just threw that in because it's going to make sense in a minute. If those are the basic necessities, the basic needs for survival out here, and you see the list was, well, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 things. Shelter, food, heating and cooling, power, water, good health, little extra money. 7 things. 7 things can change your life, because those are the bare necessities of life to live out here in this country. Bare necessities. So why on God's green earth do we, the median, let me see, the low income is at $24,000 a year. That's like working a part-time food job. The median low income is in the $30,000-ish, $35,000. And then a little bit higher than that, what do we call, what they call that? Middle class. You're looking at anywhere from $50,000 a year, right? Why are we making $24,000, $35,000, and $50,000 a year? I'm not talking to the rich folks because they got it all mapped out. Why on God's green earth Is it taking us 30 years to accomplish 7 things? It's taken us over 30 years to accomplish. I'm trying to make this soak in your head. It's taken us over 30 years to acquire proper shelter, food without going to the store every 5 minutes, your heating and cooling to keep you comfortable and safe, power source, free water. Good health goes down the drain trying to acquire all of that stuff. And little extra money. Why is it that you work anywhere from 8 hours to 10 hours to 12 hours a day and you don't even have a little extra money when you're done paying your bills? I can tell you why. Because we let our wants override our needs. And that's what a commercial is. Every 5 minutes a commercial. Every 5 minutes is an advertisement. Every 5 minutes somebody telling you what you really need. And you believe it. Okay. How do we solve that? If I was 20 years old again, how would I solve all of these problems? I would purchase a piece of land. Remember, you got 30 years. If you don't want to retire in the sense that the system got you set up to retire, and you want to do it the right way, the old way, the original way, that's why you ain't supposed to be in debt. Get this. I'm gonna blow your mind. About how much do you think it would cost? Listen. About how much do you think it would cost out of your pocket to purchase a piece of land? Listen, I know it varies every city in every state, but stick with me. To purchase a piece of land, put a tiny home on it like a cabin, either start a garden, grow livestock, put a wood stove in the cabin and an air conditioner, purchase a solar power generator and solar panels, either dig you a well or set up a rain catchment system or a water cistern. For your good health, plant all the healthy herbs and vegetables in your garden so you'll only be eating medicinal herbs and vegetables right out of your garden. And believe it, your health really, really comes down to what we put in our pie hole. True. Now, anything other than that, they call them STDs, right? No, most of our health being overweight, unhealthy, sick, bent over, in and out the hospital, some of these chronic ailments, chronic diseases, inflammation, all of this is caused from us eating food that's prepared for us by the same people that want us to work for 30 and 40 and 50 years till we die. So your good health comes from you. Where would you get this extra money that I just threw in there? Because you need money to make your land work smoothly, okay? Well, you can make money a billion different ways when you own land. You can sell some of the woods in your on your land, your trees. You can sell some of your livestock. You can sell some of your garden food. You can sell goods and services. You got a little hustle on the side. You fix cars, you sew, you knit, you embroider. Little hustles. You go to the farmer's market and, do your little thing. Now, I think I asked this and I think I seen one person answer it. How much do you think it would cost for a piece of land, shelter, food, heating, cooling, solar power, water? I'm not going to put in good health because that's part of the gardening. And I'm not going to put in extra money because that's the hustle. How much do you think it would cost to achieve that? That's right, Mr. Bambit. It's all by design. How much do you think all of that costs? Growing with Hustle said that's why it's important to have skills. Absolutely. That gun guy says 125,000. Chris says 175,000. Michelle says 100,000. Yisrael says $250,000. Is that how much you think it will cost? Law Watkins says 50,000 to 80,000. Adam Wilford says 64,000. Angela Cheney says between 75,000 and 80,000. Turtles Today says $140,000. LA says $50,000. Will Jess says $50,000 to $80,000. I'm not even gonna say what you just said because that's utterly ridiculous. Larry Lane says $25,000. Okay. There is no right answer. Grown with Hudson says the amount is what you're willing to spend. There is no right answer. Boy, your name always gets me, RLM. $50,000 to $100,000. Jimmy Jazz, 15,000. Okay. Now get this. There is no right answer to that. The reason I asked all of y'all to please put in all of this, I didn't say anything about a septic tank, did I? Didn't say nothing about a septic tank. I said for the basic necessities of living, basic necessities, it is not necessary to have a septic system. Okay. Now, Sonny says we did purchase 14 acres earlier this year. Congratulations. Congratulations. Now get this, y'all. Look at all of these prices. I want you to look at all of these numbers that y'all just wrote down. Look at them all. Everybody, I'm trying to get something to sink into your head. We're not in Canada, Stacy. Look at all these numbers that everybody wrote. 50 to 100,000, 15,000, 50 to 80, 50,000, 25,000, 140,000, 75 to 80,000, 64,000, 50 to 80,000, 100,000, 175,000, 200,000, 250,000, 125,000, 250,000. 124,000. Sunny Love. Listen. Did y'all hear all the numbers I just quoted? I want you to acknowledge this. Did you hear all the numbers I just quoted? Or did you look at the list and see all the numbers? I want to see a yes or a no. Okay. Good. The highest number that I saw, besides the ridiculous one, was $250,000. $250,000. Somebody said what it would cost to purchase a piece of land, put some shelter on it, food, heating and cooling, power, water, and your garden. The biggest number was $250,000. So why is it taking us 30 to 50 to 70 years to accomplish $250,000? That's why I did that. $250,000. It takes us 30, 40, 50 years to accomplish that. So this is my point. With the highest number that I saw, which was $250,000, if you invested $250,000, you would be living for free. Literally. So the reason why I didn't put into the septic tank like somebody just said is because once you've reached a point of living for free, that's where your extra money comes in. Because now everything you're working for, every red cent that you're working for goes in your pocket. So your humble beginnings with this little bitty shelter, this little bitty cabin, now you saved enough money in 1 year to actually start looking at a sizable structure. Now that you saved enough money because you're living for free, now the money that you earn, now I can start thinking about putting in a septic tank for that sizable structure. You got to crawl before you can walk. And one of the problems that a lot of people fail with purchasing land, they try to do too much too soon. Trust me, I'm one of them. Why does it take 30 years, 40 years, 50 years for us to be able to retire? And all you get is a gold watch, a pat on the back, and the last day of punching the clock. That's your and a cake. That's what they gave you for giving your life away to this corporation that might go bankrupt in the next year or two. Why is it that you're poor, but you work for a millionaire? It doesn't make any sense when you say it with your mouth. Why are you looking in your change cup in your car to put gas in your car, and the people that own this place driving a Lamborghini? He ain't even driving a Lamborghini. He's having somebody else drive the Lamborghini for him and bring him someplace. He got a chauffeur in the Lamborghini. And you know what we're all told? If you work hard enough, you'll be here someday. You know what I told my boss when he told me this one time at the post office? I don't ever want to be in your spot. What do you mean by that? I'm not thriving to be you. You want to know why? Because you a greedy Said I wasn't going to cuss in this video. Because you're greedy. You're a horrible person. Everybody in here is working overtime for you. Everybody in here hasn't seen their children in weeks. Everybody in here is sick, overworked, exhausted, heat stroke, or they got fingertips is freezing off. And you come to work in a Bentley to show us if you work hard enough, you'll be like me someday. But you don't realize when we're sweating, and we've been sweating all day in this mail truck so much that our shirt literally, it sweats, it dries up. It sweats, it dries up. It sweats, it dries up until our shirts are sour. And mold starts to grow on your freaking back. And you drive to work in a Bentley to try to encourage us to work harder. But what you don't realize, because you're not in tune with your employees, is this is a slap in the face every time you drive this Bentley to work and park it in your private spot. It's a slap in our face. That's not encouragement. That's a slap in our faces. But that's the mind of a lunatic. My son said, but Dad, if they already got millions and billions of dollars, Dad, why do they keep wanting the money? And I said, there's only one answer to that. Because it doesn't make sense, does it? Why would a person with millions and hundreds of millions of dollars still want more hundreds of millions and billions of dollars? Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because they are addicted to money and power, just like somebody is addicted to drugs and cigarettes. It's the addiction of the power that they have over people, and it's the addiction of the power that comes along with it. They don't ever need any more money for the next 5 generations. Their whole family could live for 5 generations and not spend a nickel. Get this, with the amount of money that the corporations have, the corporation owners have, if they just took those few millions of dollars that they have, put it in a bank, listen now, they took the millions of dollars that they have already and put it in the bank, they would live like literal freaking kings just off of the interest alone from the bank. They would never have to work again, never have to do nothing again, but they could literally live off the interest and live better than anybody we know. Just living off the interest of the money that they put into the bank. Why on God's green earth wouldn't they hand a little bit of that to their workers that got them there? I'm going to tell you why that. Now, this is a discussion me and my son had this morning. Why would they give a little bonus to the workers to show their gratitude? Thank you for making me a multimillionaire, a billionaire. Why? You want to know why? They do not want, this is how millionaires and billionaires think. Because they're so obsessed and so greedy. To give you more. No, it's not to keep you poorer, not necessarily. Because they know if they give you too much money, you know how to run this business. You know this building like the back of your hand. What you will become if they give you too much money is competition. They don't want competition. Because they're too busy up in the office drinking Mai Tais while you're on the line trying to figure out how to do your job more efficient, how to do your job better. When they do inspections in each and every company, whether it's you sit at a desk or you work on an assembly line, all of the very important people and the auditors come and talk to the workers. They don't talk to the dumbass CEO, do they? No, they come and talk to the workers, and all of them got a clipboard, and it's about 5 or 6 people standing around you and asking you questions. So what are you doing here? Well, my job is to put this part in here and to put it through here. So can you show us you do the job? Boop, 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 boop. Wow. 5 seconds. How did you do that? Well, I came up with a method and I made my own little tool over here. See, they got you put this through here, but I was at home and made this little tool. What this does is, well, I wrap the wire around here and I can poke it through the hole, make it go faster, and I save myself some time so I can go home early today. Can I see that tool? You made this? Do you mind if I keep it? Oh, yeah, go ahead. I got plenty of them. Thank you. In 30 days, this tool will be on every station at your job that this dude invented, and he won't get any credit for it. They put a patent on this tool that make you do your job faster, more efficient, and now you got to put in more parts because now they just turned the line up and made the quota go up because of his wonderful invention. So instead of, that's how they pay you back. They pay you back by making you work harder. Why do they do that? Don't you think the guy that made this tool to make this job safer, more efficient, and faster, don't you think he deserves something? No. Because that boss and all of those auditors, they didn't see a great idea. They saw a potential opponent. If you made enough money and you left this company and did your own startup of your own company, they're going to catch hell because you're smart. You're innovative. They don't want to lose you. They'll treat you a little better than the rest, but they'll never give you what you deserve. They won't fire you if you take an extra day off. Now you're the teacher's pet. So the reason why they don't want to pay you any more money is because of their addiction. And they can't satisfy that addiction if they have competition. If you become competition, you become the enemy. They don't want you to become the enemy. They don't want to work hard. They don't want to be able to think. Again, I digress. We don't need 30 years to retire. I'm living proof of that. I'm living proof. You want to hear something else? You want to hear something else? You want to hear how much I paid? Listen, I asked y'all earlier, how much would it cost you for shelter, food, heating and cooling, power, water, good health, extra money, life insurance and saving? How much did I pay for everything you see on Freedom Makers? I'm asking you to guess, how much do you think I paid for my shelter, my land, my food that I grow, my heating and cooling, my solar power, my water source, which with the garden that comes with good health, being able to save a little extra money, which helps you don't, okay. Oh, bring the numbers in. How much do you think I paid? Me and my wife. This gonna stop you in your freaking tracks. To live for free. Freedom Makers only, not this house, just Freedom Makers. $35,000, $250,000, $250,000, $60,000, $200,000, $50,000, $30,000, $150,000, $400,000. Let me see. $100,000. Is this 600,000 you putting up? Golden says 50,000, 100,000. Wheels says 50 to 70,000. Talea Davis 85,000. Nope, it ain't. Skills ain't got nothing to do with it. But thank you. Monica Willis says 700,000. Zone says 159,000. This ain't The Price is Right. You underbidding people by $1. Angela says 55,000. Plant Chat with April, 25,000. $600 a month. I don't pay monthly for nothing. I own my land and everything on it. We don't pay a single red cent for anything on Freedom Acres. I literally own everything on that land. I have the deed in my hand for everything out there. Says priceless, but 80,000. Tony says 50,000. Says 80.1 thousand. They bidding by $1. Same the price is right. Shay says 75,000. Angela says 55,000. Susie says 15,000. Okay, I'm gonna tell you. To live for free on Freedom Acres cost me $55,000. When I told my son that, he almost boo-booed on himself. $55,000. With all the solar that you see, the stuff that I use was not given to me. I paid out of my pocket for the solar that I'm using on Freedom Acres. So what everybody about to say, well, you got sponsors. The solar that I use for Freedom Acres, I paid for out of my pocket. $55,000, and I'm rounding up. So now the money that I've saved, instead of constantly spending, I got a little money over here, buy a little beat up tractor. I got a little money over here, buy me some better solar panels. I got a little money over here to buy a better system. See what I'm saying? I figured it out. I figured out the real system and the way this is really supposed to work. Now, land is going to change depending on where you are. But again, even where you are, y'all was saying 250,000 was the top number. $250,000? Even if you had to pay $250,000 to live for free, you can, if you separate and be diligent about separating your needs from your wants. If you get everything you need on your needs list first, your wants will fall in line. And you want to know something else, God Almighty? Once you figure out and you complete your list of your needs, this almost made me want to cry. Once you figure out and you complete and succeed on your list of needs, your wants list, you realize you don't even want it anymore. You realize all the things that you thought you wanted, you don't want. Do you want to know why? If you complete everything on your needs list, your shelter, food, water, heating, cooler, power, and good health, extra money, do you know why your want list, you won't care about your wants list anymore? Because your priorities changed by succeeding on your needs list. Everything I wanted 5 years ago is not the same thing I want now. All the things that I wanted to achieve 5 years ago before I purchased this land, I do not care about right now. Because once I completed the list of needs, all I really, really want is to enhance my necessities. All I really want is to maintain my necessities. So my wants isn't I want landscaping, I want this, I want an extra room built onto my house, not anymore. So my long list of wants is gone. We've been doing this all wrong because you've been lied to. You do not have to wait 30 years before you can sit on the porch and drink lemonade. You do not have to wait 30 and 40 years before you can relax. You do not have to wait 30 and 40 years to enjoy your family, watch your kids graduate, or go to your boss begging, can you leave for the day because your daughter is graduating, walking the stage. You don't have to go and do no weird favors for your boss just so you can get a raise. That's the other thing. You don't need a raise. You give yourself a raise. When I need extra money, I pull off other stuff. I sell something off. I hustle up a little something. I don't got to go to my boss and say, well, boss, I've been here for like 8 years. I was thinking maybe I don't got to do that. Now, here's the part that people really can't take. The reality of it. Living like this is rough. It is. But you don't got to do it for long. If you took that $55,000 and purchased all of the necessities that you would need, don't quit your job yet. Keep your job for another 5 years. Work on your job 5 years and earn enough money to complete your wants list. And then some. Then quit. Tell them, give me my retirement, give me my 401k. Well, if there's penalties, I don't care. Give me my retirement, give me my 401k, give me everything you need. Cash me out on my sick leave I ain't used, my personal leave, all of that. Cash me out. Why are you waiting for your Social Security? That's money that you paid into that you need. Why are you waiting till you're 70 or 60 years old to get your freaking Social Security? You paid into that. That's your money. Why can't you get that when you want it? Why do you gotta wait till you're this old before they even allow you to even look at it? What if I need my money so I can make a big investment? They ain't gonna give it to you because they're too busy investing your money that you earn into something that they want. They're making that corporation more money with your money. They're using your money to gamble in this system. And if you ain't dead, by the time it's time for you to pull it, they give you a little something. And they don't give you no big lump sum. They give you crumbs every month. Like you're a child. You getting your little Social Security check every month like you're a little freaking child. You worked all your entire life to earn this as a grown ass man or woman, but now they paying you, giving you a little allowance every month, and it's never enough. Why can't you say, listen, I need about another $1,000 of my pension money this month because my rent is due, and I had a doctor's appointment and I got to buy my medication. Why can't you do that? It's your money. There is an amount that you are owed. Why can't you dip into that when you need it? Why are you still asking the boss, can you give me money? Why I got to wait on payday to get my money? There should be a way where you can fill out a form and say, next month, I need $400. Or there should be some kind of form where, listen, this month, I'm going to have to apply for an extra $1,000 because I'm behind on my rent. That's where a lot of elderly people go wrong, is because they ain't got enough money between their medication this month and the light bill and the gas bill. They had a water leak, didn't know the water bill. And this month, they coming up short. They need a little something extra. Social Security is telling them you got to wait till next month till your check come again. You trying to tell the manager at your rental unit, can you wait till next month because my check? We don't want to hear nothing about your old ass check. The other problem with that 30 years of waiting for your money to come, you better not get sick. See, if you own everything and you get sick, you're not going to lose anything. You can get sick and get up out of that bed when your body says, I think I feel well enough to move around. But when you work for that job, they give you a certain amount of days you can be sick, certain amount of days for personal leave, certain amount of days for bereavement, for funerals and deaths. You get a certain amount of days for you. You're a human being. Here's the other part. You get zero mental health days. When they say you get, let's say you accumulated this many sick days, they should also add in mental health days, a paid mental health day. That's what they should add on to your job. Not just sick leave, not just bereavement, not just natal care, having a baby. None of it. They should also add on mental health day. I need a mental day. I'm going to tear the club up in here. You don't have to wait 30 freaking years. I want you to hear something. We're holding on to this house because I don't really owe that much on this house. This is a prime piece of real estate, this house is. But if I sold this house, I would never do anything again. If I sold this house for the amount of money that I could get for this home that I'm sitting in right now, I probably wouldn't even never come back to YouTube. You may never ever see me again. I kid you not. I wouldn't do jack. This is a business move, is this house. That's why I got it. That's why I still got it. But I promise to you, what makes me feel good is I don't have to work. Well, you said she gonna buy some property, build it, homestead. I don't know what that means. Okay. Some people say, why don't you sell this house and just use the money on the land, have your house built on the land? We were gonna do that. Why would I do that when I have this prime piece of real estate and I own outright a whole nother prime piece of real estate over there, paid off, paid and clear? If I keep this and pay it off, I can rent this out. I can lease this out. I can turn this into a bed and breakfast. This will become another income. I can give this to one of my children so they can get a head start. I don't owe that much on this house. So it would be a bad business move. If I wanted to leave right now and get my wife a house on Freedom Acres, I would lease this out, and the money that somebody would be paying for the lease payment would be paying my mortgage, and I would still be free and clear. So to get rid of this house is not a burden. It's business. And this is the stuff that nobody tells us. For instance, I can make a quick example, and then I'm gonna start making my way out of here. Quick example. This been 8 years ago. 8 years ago, I had a Dodge Ram truck. Stick with me. I had a Dodge Ram pickup truck, short body, short bed. Loved that truck. Loved it. It was a stick shift. V6, but I love this truck. I turned it in to get a new car. I traded it in to get a new car. I will never live this down. And I said I will never do nothing like that again. I love that truck, but they wanted a little bit extra money down so I could get my car. All I had to do was wait one more week and get a down payment, get another paycheck and put a bigger down payment on. They gave me $1,500 for my freaking truck. They gave me $1,500 for my priceless pickup truck, because they're priceless now. And I never go a day without thinking about that. They gave me $1,500 for my Dodge Ram short bed that right now you can't even find them. With a manual V6, manual transmission. And at the time I was like, let it go. All I had to do was wait one more week for another paycheck and give them what they wanted for this car. So basically, I gave these people a free car because they would have let me get this car. These car salesmen don't want to lose no customer. I could have kept my truck because I owned it outright, free and clear, had the title. I don't owe anything on it. The insurance was not the insurance, but my tags was $21 a year to renew my tags every year. And the insurance on it was dirtball cheap. That's why I'm keeping this house. Because I will never be scammed and lowballed like that again, because I'm too impatient to get something that I want and not something I need. This house, this is a gold mine. So before you go off selling some of your prized possessions, think about how they can work for you before you let them go. But back to this. You do not have to work for 30 and 40 years just to get ready to die. Because when you work for 30 and 40 and 50 years, all you're doing really is getting ready to, chalk it up. All your good days in your body is broke down, your mind is stressed out, and all you're really doing is making peace with God now. Everything that you said that you wanted to do when you was 20 and said, when I retire, I'm going to go travel. I'm going to see the world. I'm going to take cruises. I'm going to do this. But by the time you 65, 70 years old and older, all you want to do is go to sleep, sit down, relax, watch your favorite program on TV. Hey, that's not living. And you still ain't spending no time with your family because you sleep. You said, when I get retired, I'm gonna spend all my time with my babies, my wife, my husband. You too tired. And when they go to talking, you tell them to shut up so you can get some rest. You still don't end up spending no time with your family. Your kids is grown and gone. You love your grandbabies, but you ain't got enough energy to chase your grandbabies. So what do? Hey, mama gonna keep them for a few hours, but hey, look, I need some sleep. I ain't eat good. I ain't ate today. I'm tired. Look, you come pick these babies up around 6 o'clock, because after 6, I gotta watch my program, Wheel of Fortune, and I ain't gonna be able to do it. I done watched this play out so many freaking times. It never changes. It's like the freaking Matrix. It never changes. It's always the same. It's like watching the result of the system in retirement is like the movie Groundhog Day. It keeps happening exactly the same way over and over and over again. How many people saw the movie Groundhog Day? How was he able to finally break the loop? How was he finally able to get out of the Groundhog Day loop? He had to change things in himself. That was it. No matter what he tried, he couldn't break the loop. And that's the generational curse that we're living in right now. Nobody can break this freaking loop because we keep trying the same stupid thing with the exact same outcome. That's the definition of insanity. Right? So one of us in one of these generations are going to have to step out on faith and take a completely 360 turn on the way life is really mapped out for us. We got to do something completely different. Completely different than what we've been doing. For generations, we keep doing this over and over and over again. And I will ask you this, and I mean this from my heart. I will ask you, does it work? Does this work, what this system is giving us? How many people do you know that's well off and living good? They will pretend they living good, but they're freaking miserable, and you won't find out that their whole little lifestyle was a lie until they're dead and gone, and people start whispering at the funeral. You know they was in debt. You know they was coming to get the house. Some people say they died because of stress, because they had got that pink slip on their house. They said it. That's it plays out the exact same way every person I know. The only way, and I have proof of my system and why it works. You want to hear my proof? To prove to you it works, number one, I'm living it right now. I have not worked. I quit from the United States Post Office 4 years ago. And I have not looked back. And I have not been employed by anyone. It works. Now, that's proof number one. I am proof number one. You're looking at me and you see me do it every day. I do not have to be finished buying this house. I am your first piece of proof. You want to hear your second piece of proof that I will say even is a greater piece of proof than you watching me live it? The greater piece of proof is why you think all of them want to buy your land. Why you think all of them want to buy your house. We buy houses. Why do you think all of them are acquiring all of this land? They're acquiring all of this land so you can. Because they see the movement. They see us stepping out on faith and purchasing land and buying our freedom. They see that. They need to stop that immediately. Because we can't have too many free ones out there living. Oh, that's going to be a bad look. Won't nobody want to work in no cubicles and in this assembly line. Won't nobody want to come back here when to get food, all they got to do is go out to their garden and get food. To get water, all they got to do is go out to their well and get water. We don't want them to find that out. Buy up all this land and make sure they can't get on. That's why they're buying up all this farmland and stuff. And it just sit there. I got another one. Why do you think that they let all the farmers go bankrupt? Why would you let all the farmers... Listen, these are the people that feed America. Why would you let the farmers go bankrupt? To some of y'all be like, they deserved it because they voted for this. True. But on the other hand, you be like, hey, we got to eat though. Why would they bankrupt and allow all the farmers to bankrupt themselves? Why would they do this and put this into play? I'm going to tell you why. Because so you can depend on them for food. And then we're going to turn around and buy the land. We already own the farmer, but we even know we can do better without the farmer. Bankrupt him and buy his 200 acres for pennies on the dollar. Now we control what the people eat, literally. hands-on. We're going to have AI robots and stuff controlling the food system and the FDA and all of this. And we killed two birds with one stone. We control the food, and we made it so they can't buy this land. Saw this piece of land, it was 67 acres. Somebody bought that land 3 years ago. I saw that some lumberjacks came and leveled that whole 67 acres. They leveled it, 67 acres. They leveled it to the ground. It was nothing but dirt. It's been 3 years. It's grown back so thick and lush, you can't see through it. That's how long that piece of land been sitting. Nothing done. The sign is still right there to say sold. It's been over 3 years. I've been paying attention to it. I got to drive past it every day. Why did somebody buy this land and have not touched it in over 3 years? You do not have to wait until you're 60 and 70 and 80 to enjoy the rest of your life. And I'm going to tell you this. One of my biggest cheerleaders was my mother. My mother, I remember her telling me, I'm so glad you quit that job. My mother said, baby, because me and my mother thick as thieves, okay? One of my best friends besides my wife. And let me tell you this. She was like, I'm so glad you quit that job. I'll never see you no more. You know, I come to family dinners with my work uniform on. You know how that makes me feel? Do you know how I feel like a piece of shit showing up to a family dinner with a postal uniform on and I smell like a damn skunk tail because I don't have time to go home and take a shower and come back to the function because I know if I go home and take a shower, I'm going to fall asleep. So I come directly from work and go straight to my mother's house for this family function, smelling like a damn bandicoot. I got to apologize for how bad I smell working out in the South Carolina summer heat. But nobody minded. They just, we glad you're here. Even though we had to wait to eat dinner at 9 o'clock at night. But hey, you here. That is not living. That is slowly dying. Why was I making all this money? Because I thought it was because for things I want, right? If you buy the things you need, the things you want go away. If you invest in the things that you need, your wants go away. They change. And all you want now is to enhance the things you need. You don't want all this frivolous garbage anymore. Only thing you're going to be thinking about is how to bring in more solar energy. The only thing you're going to be thinking about is how to get more fresh water and save it. The only thing you're going to be thinking about and wanting is how to purify more water on a grander scale. You're not going to be wanting new cars and new clothes and purses and shoes and frivolous crap. That's what they want you to want. Your lawn doesn't matter as much anymore. The only reason I want my lawn cut is so I can see a snake when it's sneaking up on you. I don't care about perfect lines in the lawn. I don't care about fertilizers and grass seed. I don't. I used to until I found out how unimportant that is. Now I really prefer if I could take that lawn and turn it into something edible. That makes way more sense than to spend money on grass seeds. I'd rather be spending it on okra seeds instead of spending my money on grass fertilizers and weed killer. I'd rather be spending my money on tomato seeds because I'm going to constantly get something back from those vegetable seeds that I plant. And the only thing I'm going to get if I plant new grass seeds and fertilizers is a pat on the back from a bunch of people next door that don't give a handful of craps about me. Nice lawn. Hey, thanks. They don't care. I can't sell my nice lawn to them. I can sell them my tomatoes. I can't sell my lush carpet-like grass to my neighbors. I can sell them my cucumbers. I can share my cucumbers. I can share my tomatoes. I can share my okra. You can't share your lawn. And a pat on the back just don't cut it anymore. Winning a trophy award because you got the best lawn is that so what? They're starting to give us trophies and awards to be the most ignorant. You won an award because you spent $20,000 on grass seed and fertilizer. Instead of spending $20,000 on growing food, your $20,000 investment in a garden just put out $80,000 worth of food. I said I wasn't going to go off this time. Sorry. We had an hour and a half. I said I didn't want to go this long, but an hour and a half would do it. Y'all, I just shared with you a conversation that me and my son, my baby boy, had. And you know what my baby boy said? He don't ever want to live like this. And I told him, this Tuesday, me and you looking for some land. Thank you for that, Top Notch. Thank you. Because my son is a man. He don't want to be on his daddy land around the corner. My son is a man. And he's interested in purchasing himself a piece of land, acre or two, just so he can start off his life right. Throw a little cabin on there, and every time he come home from college, he got somewhere to live. He ain't got to hear me fussing and passing gas all night. He can go straight to his own private, personal land. Go to his cabin, and he cool. He graduate from college and go do his job and make a little money for a few years and enhance his land. Buy some more land. But he won't be starting out in the rat race like we all do. He'll already have a head start on life. And that's the only way we can do it. We have to step out on faith and change the way we retire. Because this ain't it. This system ain't it. This is Groundhog Day system. You're born, you're going to work, you're going to die, and you're going to leave this earth with nothing. You're going to leave this earth with nothing to leave your family. They'll never even say your name again at your job. They might say a couple funny things they remember about you for the first 3 years, and then your history. The only people that remember you after 3 years after you die end up either dying or getting fired themselves. You're nothing. You gave your soul to this corporation. And these corporations these days, they're only here to poison the rest of the people. They're not producing anything that's of value. The corporations and the companies today, they're only producing things that help destroy you. Something is poisoning you. Something is giving you radiation. Something is giving you cancer. Something is giving you diseases. All this new food and innovation, all of it's sickening. My son made me proud today. You know why my son made me proud today? Because my son was proud of me. My son saw what his mom and dad has accomplished, and he said, that's what I want to do. He don't want to be out here working till he die, working every day, in and out, in and out. You barely see your wife, you barely see your kids. He said, I don't want that for me. So I'm going to do whatever I have to do to help my son move in that direction. I hope you do too. And if it's too late for some of us that's up in age, we got to help the young ones. We got to help our youth. We got to help our kids. We got to help our grandkids. And frankly, it's still time for us to purchase land, and we may have to pass it on, but at least we'll have it. Because I'm going to tell you, there's a group of people that do this all the time. They buy land, and they pass it down to their kids. It's generational wealth. No matter how it was acquired, they make sure, don't sell this outside the family. Pass it on to Jimmy Sue, Becky Sue, Larry James. You keep passing this on. The tables have been unfair. But while we can still do something. Oh, I don't have 125 acres. I don't have 1,000 acres. But I got something that'll give my kids a head start. My land wasn't stolen. So my kids will inherit legal land that I busted my ass for. I gave my blood, sweat, and tears to these companies and corporations. And once I figured out our needs come before our wants, that's when I broke the chain. Y'all want to know, real quick, you want to know how I figured out I'm never going back to work again? Do you want to hear that? Real quick, it's a story. I got hurt on the job. That's why my hands don't work the way they used to. I had nerve damage. And for everybody saying I got a settlement, no, I did not. You get a red cent. But get this. I was out on sick leave. I was only supposed to be out on sick leave for 2 weeks. My doctor said you need another 2 weeks because now you got to go to therapy. Then my doctor said, okay, after therapy, we're going to look into this. You need to go to a specialist. Then, 2 weeks turned into 30 days. 30 days turned into 90 days. 90 days, I was off for over 1 year. So really, by right, I haven't worked in the post office for 5 years, by right. Technically, once I was off for about a year, spending time with my family, my wife, my mother, hearing about my kids and what they want to do, realize I ain't been to work for a year. And I put my wants aside and I'm handling my needs. If I can hustle this hard for myself, why am I trying to go back? So I get that phone call. They say, hey, listen, Led, what you gonna do? Is you coming back or what? Because they got your route held down and they want to know what you gonna do. I said, you know what? Give me another minute or so and let me figure it out. Went on a few more months. I called them back. Hey, this is Led. Put your mother on the phone. Hey, yeah. Post office? Yeah. Hey, Led. Yeah, I ain't coming home no more. All right, bye. I can't make this up. When I told them I quit, I'm never coming back. My departure was so unceremonious. They said, okay, well, come in and fill out your paperwork. It took me months to get hired on the post office. This is what it took to quit. All the paperwork you signed to get hired for the federal government, this is all it takes for you to quit. Look. My signature. She took that paperwork. All right, bye. I said, wait a minute. What's all these other papers in the back? What's all that? Oh yeah, that's the route schedule. That ain't got nothing to do with you. That one paper, your signature, just told you your 8 years working for the post office didn't mean a freaking thing to nobody here. It doesn't mean anything to any of the customers out in the city. You don't matter. That's what your signature just said. We could give a crap less. While I'm sitting there, I'm asking her, so this is it? Nothing else? No, you're free to go. She said I'm free to go like I just did a 30-year bid in prison. She said, you can go now. What? You mean I can just get up and leave? I almost felt like if I get up and turn around, I'm gonna get shot in the back. You know, run, Ricky, because it was so like, hey, I found somebody wallet out in the parking lot, kind of nonchalant. Okay, I'll put that in my drawer. Kind of conversation. Like, do you know I worked here for 8 freaking years of my life, and then I got sick. She's like, oh, that's it. All right. Have a good one. A good one? Ain't anybody else got to witness this? No. She took my paperwork that I signed and put it on a desk. If you ever worked at the post office, every desk from supervisors is stacked full of garbage, paper, mails, bulletins, and everything. She shoved that clipboard under all that junk. And guess what? I think I still work for the federal government. I think I do still work for the United States Postal Service, because they keep sending me stuff about sick leave and getting new uniforms, my uniform allowance. And I'm like, what? Every year, all the time, whatever happened at the post office, I know about it, because to them, I still work there. My badge number, everything still work. I don't know. She took my signature with this paper and throwed it on a desk mounted with papers and bills and mail and junk and lunch and shit. I'll never forget kind of being nervous to get up and stand up and turn my back on this woman. I literally thought, I felt like I was going to get shot in the back. I walked out so slow, and all I could hear was the hum of the air conditioned vents, because it was a cold month, so the heaters was on, and all I could hear was that loud hum of the giant heater vents above me, because nobody was in the office. Everybody was out on the street delivering mail. I remember walking out, opening up the double doors for the last time, standing on the dock. Like, damn. That was weird. Got in my truck and went home. And I've never looked back. And I've been hustling ever since. But once I realized, if I can work this hard for y'all and kill myself, I can work that hard for myself and kill myself. But I can wake up when I want. I can go to sleep when I want. Ain't nobody gonna be calling me in the middle of the night and asking me, can I come in early? Ain't nobody gonna be calling me and asking me, can I come in on my day off? Every day is my day off unless I say it ain't. I can see my kids. I can sit down and talk to my children. I can sit down and talk to my wife. I ain't got to be tired. The only reason I'm tired because we spent all day in the garden or I've spent all day working on land I have acquired. The only reason I'm tired is because of what I did. Not for what I did for somebody else. Not because I made a millionaire and turned a millionaire into a billionaire. I'm tired because I used my energy to work for myself. And my payment is whatever I just accomplished. You do not have to work for 30 and 40 years to retire. You need to retire from their reality. That. In so many words, and I know we don't like these words. In so many words, really? In this system, all we all are sharecroppers. You're staying on the plantation for the safety and security of the boss. He ain't paying you that much money. He giving you room and board. Give you a little extra money because you got a new baby. The boss will never give you enough money to purchase your own land, purchase your own home so you can start your own farm. Nope. No matter how hard you work on that plantation, you'll never earn enough to own your own. So in so many ways, in so many words, we're all really just sharecroppers. Until you step off and say, you know what, I've had enough. You know, I gotta go. I want you to think about that. You're too scared to leave the plantation. Just like the boss on the plantation, he'll never give you enough to survive on your own. But you'll always work your spine off. That's it. That's all I got. Everybody, I love you. We can do better than this. They're starting to see that we're all getting wise and in tune to what's really going on. And it's a lot of new landowners out there with YouTube channels doing the same thing. They woke up. They see it. They had that drive and that ambition. Whether they fail or not, they're still doing it. Because one thing holds true. If you fail out here on your own, you can always reassimilate back into this bullshit system. I need you to think. If you step out on faith and try to go out there and do it on your own and you happen to fail, man, it's nothing to assimilate back into this system and be a sharecropper with the rest of them. It's nothing to it. But you won't know if you'll fail if you don't even try it. Right? With that being said, everybody have a wonderful night. Happy Sunday. Live Farmer 73. I love you. Be safe. Stay sane.